Step it up, 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 put an end to violence. We're calling on you.
Concerning, we know when the politicians come in and they wanted us to vote, they bring all these promises and then we trust them and we vote for them, and then when they come into power, they forget about us and then they just go on to do things that rather benefit the other or maybe issues that are not surrounding with women. It's like we don't even reach anywhere, even though we have organizations that are trying to help women over there because of founding and cut. Due to their lack of promises or faithful promises, we always where we are.
When a woman has her rights being taken away from her, this would actually make her feel that she's inferior to whatever is affecting society. And I believe that what the government needs to do is to actually be able to increase the funding in 3 areas that are important, such as transit, housing, and also the education system, because by having an increase in these 3 areas, I believe that every woman will have a right to voice her opinion and also to actually be able to know that whatever concerns or issues are, they're actually being addressed or being listened to, and that way she'll feel more empowered in terms of her beliefs or opinions.
There's not enough child care centers, and there's not enough subsidy for everybody. And it's a hard struggle for many women to study, to go to work even, to progress, to do anything they want to do forward. If they don't have a person, a center or a person to take care of their children, because obviously they can do all these things with their children in their back, right? And yes, and definitely I think the government should do something about this, because it's a barrier for a lot of us that want to progress in this province, in this country.
Women with mental health and addiction issues, I suffered from all of that, and I never knew my rights because nobody spoke up and said, you're allowed to vote, you're allowed to do this. And I just voted for the first time the last election there, and I didn't know that I had rights as a woman. So I really think that people need to focus on all women, addiction, mental health, abused women, women with children that are still in poverty, and to really focus on that.
My concern right now is that I'm getting further and further in debt because of I have to pay rent that's higher than I probably would like to, and trying to go back to school to improve my education so I can be a valuable asset to society. And the cuts in affordable housing are ridiculous because so many people, not just women, but people, but women especially, that have come from a violent situation at home or on the streets, can't afford to get a place to live. And it's a vicious cycle then.
I think that the government, as well as these cuts that are being made, people really need to pay attention and realize that women who are being abused, and women who do have children, women who need the support system that they're cutting, it's not fair to them, and we need to be like their background and be there to help support them and help lift them and help assist them in reaching their full potentials. And they shouldn't be held accountable or be at fault for their situations and have anything prevent them from being successful.
Women surviving violence or other oppressions. It doesn't have to just be violence. It could be numerous things, I think by going to protest and really voicing your opinion, because I still always feel like I'm very comfortable in a class setting and I'm comfortable with women, but when it gets out into the big wide world, I have to really think. I feel like I can't say anything because society's kind of, because if I told society, if I told everybody what my life was like or the challenges I've been through, people are going to judge me on it. And it's scary, you know, especially when you want to try and help women get into the job field. It's tough.
I believe that the education system needs to be accessible, more accessible to women, especially without systemic barriers, because it prevents us from making decisions in our lives and our children. And right now the education system, it's like a privilege to people of class because there are barriers for credits, and in my own personal experience, but because I was a little bit stronger and I fought that barrier, and that's, for me, using the ACE-WCCA program helped me to use my voice in my education to help other women find their voices. But definitely the education system needs to be strengthened for women to be able to make better decisions in their lives.
I really want to speak to the shelter system. We started off with providing safe places for women to go to, and in recent governments, provincially and federally and all governments, basically now there are cuts that are making it impossible to find space and safety, and also there are laws in place that actually make women nervous to go to these shelters because they don't feel they can go there and be safe. So I'd really like to see someone look at these laws and change them so that women couldn't go to shelters and feel safe and not feel threatened to be followed or removed from them based on immigration or records or any of those things.
Because my issue would be like going after the father of my child for support. So they put this big picture. It's a great idea, go after the father for support, and this system called FRO will collect the money, not realizing that years later another system will be implemented, and I don't know who and when it was implemented, but the system that was implemented was, if you're in low-income housing or if you're on social welfare, that money that you're getting from that supporter, which was not considered an income, is being deducted 100% because you're getting that. So if it's $50 you're getting, they take that money from you, 100%. If you're in low-income housing, they take 30% towards your rent. How are you supposed to survive? Like, they tell you go after these fathers, but yet they're penalizing you years later for going after these fathers by taking money from this area and putting money back into this area. You know, how do we address that?
Last year, there was some amendments to the immigration code for non-status women, like refugee women. And I think it's just really unfair to say women that come from domestic violence, they don't have nowhere to go, and the system is just not supporting them. And they don't have enough time to gather their information, to do a hearing, and they end up being deported because they don't have a case. You know, they don't have a lawyer. They don't even speak the language. They don't know where to go. There's not enough information. They're just, they feel like they don't have someone to talk to when they get here, and they've been through so much. So they open the door saying that, yeah, domestic violence, okay, refugee women can come, but when they get here, they find nothing.
I think the first problem for women is the inequality between men and women, and also problem comes from the inequality socially and economically. But we are immigrant here, we are newcomer in Canada. In our country, if we had problem, we live with abuse man, husband, we have to patient. We couldn't come, we couldn't support, the government couldn't support us and didn't support us. We came to Canada for a better life for us. But here now, because of, I didn't know, the economy is not fixed, because of the women organization doesn't have good funding, we lost our opportunity even here. And I think the government has to focus on the women's organization.
I think the problem is that a lot of people don't acknowledge that the economic recession affects women more than men, really. And so by not focusing on women's rights, they're really taking a huge chunk out of, how it's affecting society. They need to focus on women and building women's institutions and supporting them, because those institutions are the ones that are suffering the most.
And if they say, okay, or they're trying to cut down costs to help with the global economy, they shouldn't start with those under oppression. They should start with those that are up there, because we all know for a fact that it's the male dominants that have the 6 figures when it comes to salaries and stuff. Women are always at the bottom. So if they said, okay, we have to cut down recreation, we have to cut down childcare, it's like they're forgetting about those who are up there who are making it, and rather putting more oppression on the women.
I came here 10 years ago, and for me, I think it's really important if we as an immigrant residents of Ontario can be considered on the voting, because at this point I can no vote, and I think our vote is very important because I pay taxes as a resident of Ontario since I came here, since the first time that I came here. So I think voting, it will give us the women a lot of power to make decisions and to also be able to elect the candidates that we want to speak in our name.
Women know what women are needing. Women know what is happening to them. Stop trying to tell me that it's gotta be my fault. Tell that to violent men. Step it up, 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 step it up.